a year to improve streets. On your ballot in April is a measure to continue it. A vote against means no more funds from commuters. A vote for will not raise your taxes and commuters still pay. Learn more at LincolnOnTheMove.com. Paid for by the City of Lincoln.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those magical 2 days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday and get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it. And stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and O. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Husker fans, the message is clear. Nebraska softball is here to dominate. They're off to a hot start, and they're bringing that energy into Big Ten play. On Friday, March 21st, Minnesota comes to Lincoln for a weekend series in Bowling, and they need Husker Nation in the stands. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action as they begin conference play. Get details and tickets at huskers.com/tickets.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Hey volleybalfans, this is Laura Dijkema, national player of the Netherlands and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call today at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet Eric Strickland. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman. Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Yeah. Well, here we are at Buffalo Wings and Rings, East Strick. It is not Austin Orman. It is Shaky Jakey.
What's going on,
I
Tricky?
call him Shaky Jakey because sometimes when he stands over the putt, there's a little twitch, a little
Oh,
shake,
I don't know
a little
about that.
shimmy.
I don't know about that, Tricky.
No?
I'm
No?
shaky in other things in life, but over the putt, I'm usually pretty good. What a day it's been. Day 2 of March Madness, March Mayhem, we call it here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Just gave away a batch of prizes. We got 2 more hours of prizes, so if you want to stop by and get a free raffle ticket, we're giving away beer buckets, beer pitchers, appetizers. Got a bunch of swag over here. So stop on by. It costs you nothing, and it's
It
fun.
doesn't cost anything to come on in here. Plus, the atmosphere is wonderful. Great group of people in here right now. The staff is phenomenal. The food is excellent. I got me a little salad today, Shaky
You
Jakey.
did?
I'm trying to look slim and trim like you, man. Get back into my athletic flow. You know what I mean?
You know, I had wings for the second straight day, and I don't regret it because I don't eat wings all that often. I do love wings. And I've always said for March Madness tournament, there's not really any rules. Yeah, I had a couple beers yesterday. Today, nothing so far. I've been trying to keep it clean.
Yeah.
But I have had some wings, and I did have some broccoli to make it see a little bit healthier. But when you're eating wing, you're at Buffalo Wings and Rings. It's almost offensive to not have wings here, right?
Yeah,
they pride
it
themselves
is.
on it.
Well, as you can see, it says something else too.
Rings.
So
you had one of the. I had the wings. You had the rings.
There
We are
it is. We're a combo.
dynamic duo there.
There it is. Nothing crazy really happening today. Gonzaga's definitely going buck wild on Georgia right now.
That was yesterday.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. They beat. Well, gosh, I got to.
I'll give you an update for you.
Give me an update. Okay,
All right.
well, here we go. We got Colorado State right now on. It's coming down to the wire there. A couple of minutes left. 73-64 with them leading over Memphis. Duke is just beating the tar, and no pun to the Tar Heels, but beating the tar out of Mount St. Mary's right now. 54-28 is that score. St. Mary's is in a knockdown drag out against SEC. Non-powerhouse, but right now to them is a powerhouse in Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is up in the first half, 24-16 in that game. Ole Miss in North Carolina, as I alluded to, the Tar Heels. They're just getting started in that game. They're out on TNT, out in the South region. Right now, that game is underway. Games yesterday, there was nothing. Was there anything that really, took you by surprise?
Well, if we go to
or blew your mind?
yesterday's games. We'll get to today's in a second. I thought, I'll be honest, this has been probably kind of been the sentiment for fans who were here yesterday and today, is that it was a very underwhelming day one. March Madness is all about, even if it's the favorites winning, it's all about it coming down to the wire, buzzer beaters, back and forth. We haven't had it. I mean, the game yesterday that we were here that it was the closest was McNeese and Clemson. That's a game that McNeese led by 20 points in. They got dicey at the end, but they never trailed. And it was a 2-point game, basically with the last-second shot to make it that. So that wasn't really ever even a tight game in reality. But the games that were good were last night. Michigan hangs on to beat UC San Diego, up 14 at halftime to hang on and win the game by 3. Arkansas beat Kansas. That was a fun back-and-forth game. Kansas took the lead in the second half, but Arkansas figured out the zone eventually, which Kansas never does. They employed a zone. It worked, and finally they got out of that zone and made it work. Drake beating Missouri was a great story.
That was a good story.
Ben McCollum.
I knew it. I picked it. I know you didn't. But
you want to talk about that for a quick second? I got to admit, I don't watch a ton of college basketball. I watch a lot of Nebraska. But I don't think a lot of people that do brackets watch a ton of basketball. So that's why this means nothing. I just showed you before we went on the air where I sit in the 93.7 The Ticket bracket pool. And keep in mind, last year, of about 400 people, I think I finished.
While you tell the story, I'll partake in
Okay, you do that. You should. Last year, I believe I finished in the bottom 20 of about 400 people. And I used to pick a lot of upsets. I said, you know what? I told Sip, I said, my bracket is kind of boring because I have so much chalk. I got Florida winning and all. I got Bama going far. I've got Michigan State, I think, in the Final Four, and I've got Houston. So, wow, really went out of bounds there. The problem is that I've got everything else wrong. I wasn't picking 15 seeds. I did pick High Point to beat Purdue. That didn't happen.
Close,
you did. I picked Lipscomb to beat Iowa State. They got beat by about 100 today. Lipscomb got absolutely murdered by Iowa State, so that was a horrendous pick. But other than that, I didn't pick the trendy upsets. Like everyone picked Drake over Missouri. I said, everyone's doing it. I don't like that. I'm picking Missouri. Wrong. Everyone picked McNeese over Clemson. I said, I don't buy that. I'm picking Clemson. Wrong. And I picked today Memphis is an underdog to a 12 seed. I said, there's just too much weird stuff going on. I'm picking Memphis. Well, guess what? Memphis is down by 10. They're going to lose, down by 11 with under a minute to go. Memphis is going to lose. So that is 3 times the public was right on the trendy picks that I did not do, and I have lost. So I'm about to go even worse than 476 in the bracket. I might be dead last by the end of the day.
I kind of find myself in the middle.
Which is typical for me.
I kind of find when I look at mine, I'm in the middle. I'm kind of in the middle of the group right now. I still have some long-term plays. But you're right. It was kind of underwhelming, especially in the earlier rounds when you have an expectation of that. But when you look at a team like Drake, there's something that is an underlying message, Jakey. And there's something to speak about camaraderie. There's something to speak about unity and oneness and all seeking the same goals without any, no one really feeling that they're above the group or below the group
right.
or any of that. That group has been together, and I've been a part of that, of understanding when you have a group of guys that have and understand their roles, what they're doing, play to their strengths, and do all of those things, you can win a lot of games. And that's what I felt about Drake coming in here. I felt that they had all those components working on their behalf. Outside of the fact of them not shooting well or just getting absolutely dominated in a factor, turning the ball over crazily, rebounds, stuff like that, I felt that they would probably win this game, and absolutely they did.
Well, it's also the fact that, with that being said, it's the fact they have a lot to prove. They want to say, hey, listen, we've been doubted about coming in here. We're number one, we're 30-3. We keep proving us wrong, keep doubting us, we'll keep winning games. But the question was, can that translate to wins in the tournament where it's very difficult to win? And Bennett Sturts is a fun player to watch for them. He hit the running 3-on-1 leg up top of the key, which was fun. But honestly, to me, if it gives me hope if I'm a Division II player that, hey, listen, I can make that leap. And it's not all about knowing Ben McCollum, but this should be a huge thing for coaches in Division II, saying, all right, McCollum makes the leap in 1 year. Again, it goes to a place, and Drake has been a good program. Drake, they had DeVries go to West Virginia for a year. Now he's going to Indiana. So they have not been terrible they usually been a pretty good program, but it's taking a team that was really good last year and making it better and advancing it for the first time since the 1970s to the round of 32. So great story. But again, this should be, if anything, a thing that really helps you believe if you are a D2 basketball player or even a coach that wants to get up to the next level. It's not a given, but if you work hard and you got the right system, it can work out.
Well, there's no doubt. I also want to just give a shout out to the Omaha Mavericks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With Crutch up there.
Yes.
Listen, although they got beat pretty bad. Listen, people don't understand that St. John's is a really good team.
Oh yeah.
They hung in there early. When you go 0 for 12 of your next shots against a team like that, who's one very good defensively, they crash, they run, and they're not when your game plan against them just doesn't work, shaky Jakey. That you're saying we're going to allow you to shoot. You're not a tremendously great shooting team, but our strategy is going to be to pack it in. We're not going to let you get penetration all day and drop offs and rebounds. We're going to let you shoot. And they get on fire. That's just one of those things that you just got to tip your hand. This team shot 37 threes first and foremost.
St. John's, yep.
St. John's, but that's what they were giving them. And they hit 38% of them. And with that expectation, it's just one of those things you're going to take an L, especially when you shoot a dismal 5 for 36.
5 for 36. Well,
and 25% from the field. You got 70 shots up.
I mean, I know today that there was a 15 seed that pushed a 2 seed. Bama got pushed by Robert Morris at the end, but lost. I think Bama won by 9 or 10 in that game. They held them off. But so it's hard to expect a 15 seed always to compete against a 2 seed. Naturally, it's built that way. But this is Omaha's first ever time in the dance, and they're up 7-0. They're up 14-12, and they're down by 5 at halftime. You don't want moral victories. You come to win the game. You come to have the upset and advance. But like you said, Strick, I mean, it still was an incredible season. They weren't picked to win the Summit League by any means. You saw J.J. Lewis, a great year. The point guard was awesome for them. And then, obviously, Sutton was really good, the guard. They had a couple good years there. But it's going to be a year that you remember forever. And you know, they kept saying in the broadcast, Strick, and St. John's proved it. St. John's has been this year not just one of those, but the best second-half team in all of college basketball. What they do, they doubled up Omaha 50-25 in the second half to win the game by 30. Rick Pitino and his staff do an incredible job at halftime of figuring out what's going wrong and fixing it, and they pound teams. I mean, they're not a great three-point shooting team, and they made 14 threes in that game.
Right.
But the defense was exceptional. The rebounding was very good.
That's what they do.
And that's why St. John's is absolutely a threat to go deep in this tournament.
There's no question about it. And so just real quick, a quick conversation about, and we can relate this to football too. I know we're talking March Madness, and this is a March Madness type of question, but it is also a broader question that I want you to, take into your consideration as you in your thoughts. So, Rick Pitino, great runs down there in Kentucky.
Yes.
Right?
And Louisville.
Great teams, both of those locations. Did a wonderful job, but there was something that was distinct about him in that outside of Nolan Richardson, he was a super defense, press, run, shoot team. That was what they did, and they did it well, and that's what they would put them in positions to win championships and to go deep in tournaments, all right? Goes to the NBA. This is the unique difference about making that leap. And you saw what he was trying to do. One, he goes and drafts and tries to bring in a lot of his Kentucky players, i.e., you bring in Twan, you draft Walter McCarty, you end up bringing back Tony Delk. You're bringing a lot of these guys because they understand.
They know your system.
Right? So also the coach behind him, which was Jim O'Brien, was with him. So, but Jim got it. He understood you can't implement that same style press in the pros. It's too long of games, 82 games, it wears it out. So what happens is my question then becomes, there are coaches that do very well in the collegiate space. There are coaches that do very well at certain types of universities, i.e. Shaka Smart. Tremendous at VCU, goes to Texas, probably a little bit too big for his britches. Goes back to where
Marquette.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that something to say about whether it be football coaches as well? Coaches in general, are there certain coaches, and what makes you have the ability to make the leaps that you're making? Because we're talking D2 now. This
Right.
is all incorporated. Going from D2, what is it about that, Jake, that gives you that?
It's a good question, and I think I think about that on behalf of a guy like Ben McCollum, who we mentioned is the Drake head coach, and the theory has been strict that hey, he's probably going to Iowa. Well, guess what? He just won a tournament game. Maybe Texas wants to come calling, but like you just said, Shaka Smart went from VCU, where he was very successful, made a Final Four there. And goes to Texas, and he thought that's a no-brainer. Well, guess what? They were never bad. They were just average in his time there. Like I said, now Marquette doing much better. Ben McCollum might say, okay, are those guys cautionary tales for me about making that leap to Texas? Maybe do I stick with an Iowa or stay at Drake? I would be surprised if he stays at Drake. Just saying that he's going to be a hot. DeVries obviously went from West Virginia to Indiana, so that could be a job for him too. West Virginia if he wants to go there, but. Yeah, I mean, and think about Texas. Texas might say, all right, this is the hottest name right now in college basketball. Rodney Terry, we're not sure he's going to come back. Likely might get fired after this year. Do we go the route, again, of Ben McCollum at a mid-major, or do we have to go with a guy at, they had Chris Beard, again, that ended poorly in a different situation there. But that was a guy that could handle the pressure, though, of Texas, doing well at Ole Miss now. So it's not a perfect science. There's no, always right or wrong, but I'm still saying if I am Iowa, I'm going all in on Ben McCollum, and I'm really curious if he does win another game in the dance, if a school like Texas or somebody else comes calling for him.
Yeah, and I'm going to move off of that because we're going to have a break coming up soon because I got another question for you, but we talked about that a little bit yesterday, and something that I really spoke to is when you understand where you want to be and what you're trying to accomplish, this obviously they were going to go and try to get DeVries. That's obvious, right? DeVries understands because they really don't have the paperwork. They have money, but they've got to pay a buyout.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's almost $5 million. You got to pay a buyout on top of you got to secure a coach. This is why I think McCollum's the one that they really go at. They get him to a good number. I think they make it incentive laden, which could get him to a significantly higher number. So that way it inspires him to really get after it. But you don't really have to go out and pay probably what you was going to have to go and pay for a DeVries. Right. Someone that's making that next leap, I think, is what I was going to be looking for. I don't think they're going to be able to go out and attract and bring in a super big name because of just the money.
But you think McCollum's the guy there?
I think he's the guy.
He should be their top target.
I think he's their top target for what I just said. And that reason being that you would be able to, one, you give him the state.
Yep.
Which he's already had great success.
Right. At Des Moines.
So people are going to want to, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things. He's already familiar with the high school. He's familiar with the coaches. He's familiar with, the people are familiar with him. So it's a nice, smooth transition there. That's kind of something I had already talked about. Next, as you're looking down the schedule for today, which games are interesting to you, and which games possibly do you expect to see some fireworks?
Well, I mean, don't listen to me because I am literally the worst bracket right now in all of college basketball. But in terms of what could be potential upsets, I mean, Maryland has been a really good team all year. The question I have about Maryland, Strick, and people keep saying they have the talent to be a Final Four team. I love their starting five. But as more than anybody, as a former player, elite player, that you could have an elite starting five, but they have literally no bench. They got a guy named Geronimo on the bench who can average like 3 or 4 points a game. But beyond that, I mean, go back to the Big Ten tournament. They were absolutely pounding Illinois and they did blow them out. Strick, they had 83 points in that game with 10 minutes to go and basically pulled their starters and went to the bench. They scored 5 points the final 10 minutes and still won by 20 points. That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Because guess what? In the tournament, guys get in foul trouble. And if I get Derek Queen in foul trouble or Reese gets in foul trouble or Gillespie foul trouble, well, I have proven time and time again my bench is not reliable.
Yep.
And if there's an injury, I hate to say it, if there's an injury, they're in trouble. Now, these are all big ifs. They could stay out of foul trouble. They could stay healthy, and they could go far. So they have a pretty high ceiling, but I think their floor is also pretty low. They could go out and win game to Grand Canyon. So my point is I think they'll win that game, but I would not be surprised if Grand Canyon upset Maryland.
The one I have to keep an eye on is Marquette, New Mexico.
Richard Pitino and Shaka Smart.
Watch out for New Mexico is one of those sneaky teams that if they get going, they can get you.
I think you could see potential upset in the last game of the day. Liberty, a 12 seed against Oregon, 5 seed. Now Oregon had a long losing skid, and they won 8 straight games or something like that, and lost in the Big Ten tournament. So they're playing some good basketball. But I just wouldn't be surprised if Liberty pulls the upset. But then again, what do I know? I'm in 476th place of 490 people in our ticket bracket. So literally go the opposite of what I say to make your picks.
Is it crazy that when a lot of the times when you look at these 9-8 matches, how close they really are?
Yep.
As far as, Baylor, Mississippi State, real close game there.
3-point game, yep.
What other?
Yesterday it was Creighton.
We have another one coming up.
Creighton pounded Louisville yesterday. So that wasn't very close, which is surprising. But you will have.
But they were assisting and look, they played out of their mind.
You'll have UConn and Oklahoma in an 8-9 game and 8:25 on TNT this evening. And what was the other one yesterday in the 8-9? That would have been Gonzaga and Georgia. Gonzaga pounded them. So last year Nebraska A&M was an 8-9 game, and A&M pounded Nebraska. So that should on paper be the tightest game of all of it. It's basically the same seed.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get, like today, the Baylor, a tight game, and sometimes it's not that way, like Creighton and Louisville. But I still, for the last 8-9 game, UConn, Oklahoma, I have a hard time going against the 2-time defending champion, UConn Huskies.
Yeah.
They were underwhelming this year. They were a preseason top 5 team and did not perform well. And we saw Kansas, number 1 preseason, lost to Arkansas yesterday as a 7th seed. So UConn certainly has a big target on their back, but also they're an underdog this year as an 8th seed. So I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if they won that game and then pushed Florida the next game because of Dan Hurley.
Even though, last question before we go to break, even though you have a horrible standing and ranking in your bracket, as you look at all of the number 1 seeds, who do you see coming out of that with strength, power, resilience to take it all the way? Or do you think, we're not going to have any of the 1 seeds? Really
I'm going to say this, Stricky. I think that the 1 seed right now that should be the most concerned is actually Auburn. Auburn, to me, again, lost 3 of 4 games coming into the dance. They were not really impressive. They won the game by 20 against Alabama State yesterday, but they were not very impressive. And I'm thinking, if I'm Creighton, I'm salivating, saying, "Hang on a second. We've already proved we've won a game now for the 5th straight year in the dance. It would be a surprise if we beat Auburn, but why can't we do it? Auburn is not the same as they were 2 weeks ago. Auburn, Creighton shot lights out against Louisville, put up 89 points. I am not a Creighton fan. I'm a very anti-Creighton, but I sit here saying, watch out for the upset tomorrow. Yeah. Creighton is very much so thinking we can beat Auburn.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
you've
exited them.
To answer your question, the shakiest 1 seed is Auburn.
Got you.
We haven't seen Florida plays at 5.
They're coming up.
We haven't seen it. I picked them to win it all, so they'll probably lose to a 16 seed somehow in that game. Duke's up by 30. They look really good. And
I nullify that comment because I got them going deep in the tournament.
Well, I got Florida winning it all, but and Houston won by 38 points, so they look really good too yesterday. So I'd say in order of who looks the best, again, Florida we haven't seen yet. I'm going to put them above Auburn. Auburn's 4th. I'm going to put Duke as 1, Houston 2, and Florida 3 until we see them play tonight. And Auburn a distant 4th of scariness right now.
All right. Well, there it is. We'll come back. You know where we are, Buffalo Wings and Rings. Come on down. We're right off of O Street, just between 66th and 70th on
That's right.
O. And great crowd in here, great people. Games are on every TV, everywhere you turn, left, right, back, forward. There's a TV in which you can watch whatever game you desire to watch. We'll be right back. We're on the block, 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Follow Austin Strick and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
We are back at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and 0 for March Mayhem. He is Eric Strickland. I am Jake Sorensen. Austin Orman on his way over here. Jay Foreman out on vacation. He'll be back on, I think, Monday. He'll be back. But our show is sponsored by the Mercado. Obviously, locations in Lincoln at 84th and Havelock, 85th and Old Cheney, and also in Omaha as well. Strick, we've been talking about this bracket. And again, by the way, we'll do some prize giveaways here at 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock. So come on by for that. And hopefully you are tracking yourself in the bracketology we have. And if you got a ping pong ball, we'll see how you would do that for Final Four teams. But speaking of a Final Four team, Strick, if you're the Big Ten, you're feeling pretty good after day one.
4-0.
I'm looking at yesterday's bracket. Again, no Big Ten teams yet today. We'll have Maryland. We mentioned that. That game's at 3:35. So here any second, in 1 minute, that game will start. But the Big Ten, Strick, Michigan, the trendy upset pick was I actually got this one right. I picked Michigan. I got that one right.
Yeah.
Everyone picked UC San Diego. Michigan says not so fast. 14-point halftime lead. They win by 3 on that one. The team that was really impressive from the Big Ten was UCLA. They pound Utah State 72-47. Mick Cronin's team will play Tennessee tomorrow. That was impressive. Purdue, you and I both picked High Point to beat them. We were wrong. 75-63 Boilermakers. And then Wisconsin also looked good against Montana. 85-66. It was a bad day one for the ACC, and it was an average start for the SEC. The Big Ten is flexing right now, though. Flexing.
Yeah, and listen, so what we've seen in the past is Big Ten falter early, maybe have one team that would make a nice little run. Obviously, Purdue on last year and whatnot. But the thing about the Big Ten is, can they go deep? Pause.
Right.
Can they go deep? And getting off to this start, getting confidence early, taking off the butterflies that can persist, because you hear the stories. You hear the stories. You've seen the stories. You've known what the outcome of the Big Ten has done or in its past, and how they've not really carried over into the tournament, Jake. So you got to be feeling good about yourself. The more that you can put yourself in the hat of giving yourself a chance, the better you are. Now, here's the thing. They said the same thing about football. Conference, you beat each other up, but then you get to the big one and you can't win it. Or you get to the big, one of the big bowls, you can't win it. Iowa, you go 10-2, but what did you really do?
Right.
And you get mopped up in the bowl game, right? So they've been saying that about the Big Ten. Now it's time to show and prove. You've moved guys on. How many can you put in the Elite Eight? That should be your goal.
Well, I'm telling you, tell me if I'm wrong, Stricky. I like all these teams. I told you I picked Liberty to beat Oregon tonight, and I think Maryland could lose to Grand Canyon, but I think Maryland could also blow out Grand Canyon in that game. But just as of yesterday's teams, Wisconsin will have a very tough game against BYU, and if they win that, they'll play the winner.
Who has the oldest player in college?
BYU does, and they look really good yesterday.
He's 26 years old. He's only a month or so and some days older than or younger than Luka Doncic. Or he might even be older.
So, but I do love Wisconsin. Has been so fun this year that they finally are scoring points, and they put up 85 points against Montana. I could see them going on a run.
Wisconsin?
Beating BYU.
They got the makeup to do that with Kroll. They got good centers.
And you love Tanji as well and Blackwell. Both those guys are good.
Absolutely. But here's even one of the things that we watched over the high school tournament is teams lost because they didn't do what, Shaky Jakey? Make free throws. That's what Wisconsin does. They're in the top 10 in free throw shooting, and they get there and they make it a lot. So in the tournament, that's huge for a team with the type of size and the style of play.
You and I both, again, we picked Purdue to lose to High Point, but they play McNeese next, a 12 seed versus a 4 seed. They could lose that game and very well. They'll be favored to win. And again, they weren't overly, they beat High Point by 12. They weren't overly impressive in that game, but Purdue is 1 win away from the Sweet 16 and a team we didn't believe in. And they'll play likely Houston in that Sweet 16 game if they were to win it. But so I'm saying they're not, to me, a legitimate Elite Eight team. Okay. Wisconsin, I think, could be. We saw today Alabama, who they'd run into in the Sweet 16 if Bama.
I think the
Bama
matchup is good.
Bama was rough in a close win against Robert Morris, so Wisconsin could win there. They can score. They can keep up with Bama. Yeah. Bama likes to score. Bama is averaging 91 points a game. Yeah. Wisconsin's averaging in the 80s, so they've been scoring this year as well. And I'm telling you, what did we say last segment? Michigan beats UC San Diego, and if they were to beat A&M, we just said last segment we would not be surprised if Creighton beats Auburn. If Michigan beats A&M, they're saying, hang on, are we playing Creighton in the Sweet 16 to get to the Elite Eight? Watch out. Watch Michigan.
That matchup, it works. It works for Michigan.
I don't love Michigan's team, but you know what I love? I love Dusty May. Dusty May last year, Final Four with FAU. This year they were not playing great going to the Big Ten tournament in a win or go home. And guess what? They didn't go home. They won the Big Ten tournament. When it comes to survive and advance or go home, Dusty May has been really good. So that's why, again, not the most talented team, but they are gritty and they got a coach that refuses to lose. Watch out for Michigan. Watch out. I would almost, I'm not going to say guarantee it, but I'm very, very confident that Michigan will beat Texas A&M and go to the Sweet 16.
I think their size, I think they found themselves with great matchups. Now, Texas A&M is super athletic. They're going to get downhill, and if the same thing happens by what it did to Nebraska last year, where it's not a super great shooting the three team,
right?
But if they get hot, they can put pressure on you. Now, the other part is the size of Michigan is going to give them problems with stretchability, right? That could give them a problem. But then you look at if they get by it and Creighton's able to get by it, you know, where Michigan, I think, gives Creighton trouble is they have guys that can stretch. Kalkbrenner likes to camp out.
Yes, he does.
In the paint.
Yep.
And so that could be trouble for them. How would they adjust to that is going to be something to see if we even get to that point.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, I think the Big Ten is feeling very good today. Let's think about this trick of their games today. Maryland, win or lose against Grand Canyon.
Maryland, I got they lose.
You got GCU beat them, upset.
Yeah.
Okay. Illinois against Xavier.
I think that's a tricky one too. I think
Xavier could win that game for sure. I'm not buying Illinois. I think they lose.
Yeah.
Michigan State, Bryant.
I'm going Michigan State.
Okay, and then Oregon Liberty.
I actually got Liberty.
Okay, so you say
I got Oregon in one bracket and I got Liberty.
So we have the Big Ten going either 6-2 or 5-3, which is still really good in the first round. And Michigan State seed wise should be the favorite to go the furthest of any of those teams that are two seed.
I just don't know the style.
They don't have any truly elite players. You look at the all conference teams. No first team, no second team player for Michigan State.
The style
on the all conference team.
But here's where I say they can. Is by way of their where they're at. They're on a great side of the bracket. Get by Bryant. You either got Marquette in New Mexico. I like that matchup. I think probably, I like either one of those in that matchup for them. Similar, style, size-wise works. Iowa State, same. North Carolina, Ole Miss, maybe size-wise. But where they're coming from, there's nothing that really gives you fear if you're Michigan State as far as your style.
But they don't really have any weaknesses either. They don't have an elite player like they've had in the past with Adrian Payne and and Draymond Green back in the day. They don't have that guy, but they have a collective group that is really good and plays well together and are dangerous. And they're Nebraska played those guys in December. I mean, I know Nebraska's not a great team. Nebraska's a fine team, but they had no chance. That game was a 30-point rout in East Lansing, and they have just been that way all year. So Tom Izzo it has been pretty good historically in the dance, and
Yeah,
you know,
he's one you can bet on as far as coaching wise.
but don't forget, though, I keep remembering this 9 years ago, 2016, the year that Nova had the great win against Carolina in the buzzer beater to win the title game. The favorite going in that year, favorite was a 2 seed. Michigan State was red hot, and they were the tournament favorite as a 2 seed and lost the first round to Middle Tennessee State by like 8.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever it looks really good
Yeah.
for Sparty, watch out. I'm still taking to beat Bryant, but Bryant has got some swagger. So watch that game be tight potentially tonight. Potentially.
Well, there it is. More in store. I mean, some great games are still on. Some are on the way. Some are still yet to come. It's going to be a treasure trove of games. If you're a basketball fan, it's all you want, all you need right here, Buffalo Wings and Rings. We got my guy will be showing up real soon. Austin Orman will be joining us, but Shaky Jakey has been filling in quite nicely. We'll be right back. Take a break. 93.7 The Ticket. We're on the block.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
You grew up on cereal for breakfast and you graduated into drinking coffee at some point as an adult. Now there's a place in Lincoln where you can stay caffeinated but eat like you used to. Control Coffee and Cereal Bar brings Saturday morning vibes to every day with locally roasted specialty coffees, Lotus energy drinks, and tons of breakfast cereals with toppings. And did we mention they have video games to play while you're there too? Control Coffee and Cereal Bar open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekends at 15th and Pine Lake. At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time with the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-Week Challenge. Our program combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to help you achieve your fitness goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off your enrollment. The next 10-week challenge begins on April 12th. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that
first person.
Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes. Feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Welcome back to On the Block. We're here for the NCAA Tournament March Madness at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Come on down, hang out, have a meal, enjoy yourself as much as we are here. Shaky Jake and I will be here for probably one more segment.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shaky Jakey, for joining
No problem. I'll probably help
appreciate
Austin with the last hour, too, so you never know.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And that man looked like Barry, one of the Barry brothers.
Oh, okay. Got Brent Barry?
Yeah, not Brent, but the other one.
Rick Barry?
No, the other brother that played in Sacramento. Brent, no, Brent's the tall one.
Yeah.
The other one, the shorter one. Oh, I can't
think.
I can't think of it.
Someone help us out.
Yeah, but anyway, you know. Sorry, any text line. You guys are always available. Wrestling's off to a start.
Yeah, wrestling is up. Wrestling right now is in second place in nationals.
Yeah.
You know, Penn State is obviously the favorite and they're running away with it. But unfortunately, again, you want to win it all, but it really is a race for second. And Nebraska right now is winning that race. It has been an incredible performance by the squad. Really, all of them have performed well. This went 12-1 the last session they had, and they've all advanced. So incredible by Mark Manning's squad. You can never seen as like a true top 5 team, but they have been all year long, and they might end up finishing second place nationally.
Yeah.
In wrestling, unbelievable showing and season for that team.
No doubt about it. Also, NCAA Women's March Madness version is underway. One regional out in Spokane. We'll start there. Game underway. Baylor against Grand Canyon. They're up 8 in that game right now. Baylor's up 8. Now, again, you got to understand that they play by quarters. They've been talking about that, about men's going to quarters. What's your thought?
Well, I'd ask you. You're the one that played it. You played in the time, and like it always has been, of 2 20-minute halves. Just Eric Strickland, former college basketball player and NBA player. Would you want quarters or you like halves?
So to me, right, to be honest, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. What's been the problem, I believe, all the time with the NCAA is they've always been trying to figure out a way to distinguish themselves in the game, and it's bureaucracy type money deals. Basically, you control the element of what the game is, how it's played, even their mechanics. Because I was a referee, collegiate referee too. Even their mechanics in college were way different than everybody else. The women's was the same mechanics as the NBA, but the men's like, oh, we got to be different. So what they would do is they would call a foul if you happen to be at the lead or at the C. You would have to come up, make it, and go all the way back across the court So they've always been trying to figure that thing out. Me personally, I like quarters. Why? Because it's the old it's the adage of thought,
yep.
right? Of how do you eat the elephant? One piece at a time. There's always going to be runs in games. It's a way that you can break down the game,
right,
and make it, because when you're looking up at 20 minutes, you always think that you have enough time. You look up, you always believe that, dang, it's a lot more time to go. So your mind, your psyche begins to slow down.
Yep.
But if you break it down into quarters, you can break it down to just winning this segment of the quarter, winning that segment of the quarter, and in a smaller frame. So I like quarters. I mean, it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish with the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I guess the big thing would be, how does it change with the media timeouts? Right now we have it established as it's every 4 minutes, under the 16, under 12, under 8, under 4. And with that, I mean, would you do the under 5 and then, hey, it's the quarter timeout? Because you'd be losing a timeout basically then with that in place. So that's going to be something that they question. How do we make our money still and get our revenue from our ads in there? But I don't know. I've never been someone that says, gosh, I wish we had quarters. I understand what you're saying where, yeah, they're trying to differentiate themselves and be different. But I've never watched a game saying, man, I wish we had quarters. So I guess it's a topic of conversation that will stay with us until it's no longer something that we talk about. Because, if they ever make it the change, then so be it. Like, I don't think anybody would tell you, though, if they went to quarters, oh, I missed when we had halves. Like, it's not like I would be depressed about that change of a model. To me, it doesn't bother me enough where I'd say, man, we got to have quarters.
Yeah.
But
do you think it's kind of just a feeling at this point, like a feeling of game flow?
Yeah, I think
like when you're thinking about 20 minutes, you're just because the timeouts don't come until unless there's the ball goes out of bounds, there's a foul, technical, something that's below that mark. So
correct.
You literally can run 6 minutes off of a game without there being any stoppage. Right. So it's this, but then you're still going to get it in, at some point on the other one. So it's still a continuation of it all. It's kind of wild to me, but we'll see how it goes. But again, the games are on the way.
We're just over an hour away from Nebraska. Playing Louisville at 5 o'clock. Our own Nick Sainer down there covering the game for the ticket in Fort Worth, Texas. Huskers the 10 seed and Louisville the 7 seed in the tournament.
So here's my thing real quick. When you look at the women's game, let's be honest, the women have held it down.
They have.
The women in all across the board, they've held down from volleyball on
bowling,
right? They've held it down. So when you look at when you look at the women, there's something that I've identified is what I call brand complacency. And I talk to Austin about it all the time. Brand complacency. You can get stuck on just the name. Like, that's the one thing I think I appreciate about Jake and I appreciate about DP and Rebecca at the ticket is they're not complacent. They don't get just complacent with what it is and the status quo of it all. They're always looking for innovative ways to make the product better.
Absolutely.
All right. I feel that Nebraska's been stagnant and they've been stuck. Now, when you look at the women, like the women's also, they've got success. I'm hoping that they don't get brand complacent with just getting to the tournament, maybe winning a game or two, and then just,
Yeah, I don't think they are. I'm glad you brought it up. I don't think they are. I mean, this year early on was hurt by Natalie Potts getting hurt. She was averaging 17 points a game. She was basically your best player. You still have Markowski, and Britt Prince was great as a freshman, but you take away a high-scoring player that is a very, very good player, and that stinks.
Yeah.
I think about like last year, Husker softball loses Jordy Ball in the second game. That affected the entire season.
Facts.
And yeah, great teams can overcome that, but this was your best player in both sides for softball and basketball. So the fact they still made the dance is wonderful. I hope, I'm not trying to speak for them, but to me, I don't feel like they're complacent just getting there. I think Nebraska did win a game last year. They beat A&M and went to the round of 32 and lost to Oregon State. I think about a couple years ago with Connie York, they were a 1 seed in the dance. They were an undefeated team in the regular season, made the Sweet 16 and got upset after that, but you're shooting for that. You've proven you can do that in the history of this program. Hard to do, But I think Amy Williams is a very good coach.
Yeah.
And I think she has aspirations of being an upper echelon team in the conference, which is a very good conference, oh, by the way.
There it is. We're going to get out of here for the first hour. And guess who's joining us? The man, the myth, the legend. There
Reppin'
he
Duke.
is.
He's got the Duke hat and
he's dookied
jacket.
up. He's dookied up. There it is.
And the shoes.
And the shoes, my gosh. We'll be right back. Austin Orman will be joining us when we get back right here at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 93.7 The Ticket on the Block. We'll see you in a minute.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Follow Austin Strick and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
If the week's been too hectic to even think about dinner, or your family can't handle one more night of leftovers, then it's time to let Hog Wild do the cooking. Hog Wild's family packs are one heck of a good deal for a complete barbecue meal loaded with all the smoked meats, tasty sides, buns, and sauces you need to feed your family. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day, and it will be breezy, producing action high near 56. Tonight, mainly clear skies and light winds, below around 29. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny skies return. It'll be breezy with an action high near 64. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Early break.
All I can still picture is him talking to Bill Murray's son. And that was one of my, I could just see him. Hey, listen, your dad was awesome in stripes, but you need to shuddy. You need to shuddy.
Shut your mouth,
Shuddy.
Mr. Murray.
Yes, your dad was incredible. And what about Bob? Just stop.
I've never heard shuddy before.
Hey, I love
Shuddy.
I love
Hey,
Groundhog.
Shuddy. I'm going with that now forever. I love
With Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, and Bill Bush from 6 to 9 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet Eric Strickland. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman. Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Wow, nice to be back. It is nice to be back at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Welcome to Hour 2 of On the Block. Austin Orman, Eric Strickland with you. Strickland, baby, what's up?
What it do? Oh gosh.
Trying to figure out which one's me, which one's you. Oh, why am I over here?
Yeah,
that's a weird spot for me to be.
Trying to hurt Stricky.
There we go. I'm not trying to. I went Farley on you.
Farley on me, man.
My bad. That's on me. I don't know why these are crisscrossed like that. So that is my bad. Good to see you, partner. Good to be here. How was the first hour?
It was good. Shaky Jakey and I, man, we took care of things, talked about the NCAA tournament, some of the things that are going on right now. No nonsense games, some of the blowouts, some of the close ones, and we dug into that a little bit and just had some discussions about sports in general and coaches and the moves and why it makes sense. And so, yeah, it was good.
I'm glad to hear it. What is also good, the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese,
Sure is.
special ingredient butcher shop. Every type of meat and every type of cut, as Jay Foreman would say. You can check him out online at themercadobutchery.com. Strick, when you think of March, you think of Cinderella. You think of the slipper. You think of some iconic teams, maybe some juggernauts that came in and went wire to wire, maybe some plucky underdogs that made a long run, like Florida Atlantic, like, say, St. Peter's just a few years ago, teams like that. But March in college basketball is always the best when you can point to the player of the tournament, right? The player that became a star some year by leading their team on a run, doing things that have never been seen before. One of the first ones I remember, Strick, was Steph Curry in Davidson, right? Small, skinny, spindly, wiry Steph Curry, who's at Davidson, who wanted to go to Duke. They didn't give him a scholarship, tried to get him to transfer later. Steph says no. Today in 2008, Stricky, Steph dropped 40 on Gonzaga in the NCAA tournament. He was absolutely nuts in that game. So in the first round, it's a 7-10 matchup. Gonzaga's the 7. Davidson was the 10. Steph Curry goes for 30 points in the second half.
Right.
On his way to 40 on the day, turning a 10-point deficit into a 6-point win. Okay, next round, a 2 versus 10 matchup. Georgetown leads Davidson by 17. It's 46-29 with 18 minutes to go. Behind Steph Curry's 30 points, Davidson comes back to win 74-70. Then Wisconsin was the next victim. Steph Curry only goes for 33, but Wisconsin came into that game only allowing 53 points per game on average. LeBron James was courtside for that Davidson-Wisconsin game. But then Kansas took them down 59-57 in the next round. Of course, Curry doesn't even get a touch. He gets double-teamed in the last possession. 25 points, but on 25 shots. That's the first we heard of Steph Curry, right? You knew about his dad, Dell, what he did in the NBA. But this little skinny, almost walk-on to Davidson and Steph Curry made a name for himself in March. And that, to me, is one of the best stories in March. And also exactly why one of the many reasons we love this crazy tournament we call March Madness.
Well, it definitely is that. And there's a lot of different names that we could run down as far as their impact and their success and the things that they were able to do. Some of the things that come to mind for me is when you look at the matchup between Bird and Magic, that was iconic.
Yep.
It was like a prelude or a precursor to what was to come and what we were going to see. And if you put your tinfoil hat on, you got to wonder how they end up in these two-story franchises locations. how does the Lakers end up with Magic and how does the Celtics end up with Bird? And to create these that magic once again in the NBA, which actually sparked really the upward trend of NBA's visibility until Michael Jordan came and took it to another level. You look at you look at guys that absolutely dominated the tournament for me. Guys like Lou Alcindor, a.k.a. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at UCLA. Because of his dominance in college, they banned dunking.
Literally banned dunking. You couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it because it was
Yeah.
it was just such a dominating thing and his impact on the game. So you got to love the runs that obviously they made in his run from 67 to 69.
Well, part of that's Bill Walton, or not Bill Walton. I mean, John Wooden.
Yeah,
and his legacy,
and his
right?
legacy.
Part of that run, right?
Yeah.
The number of dominant players he had, with Lou Alcindor being one of the first.
There it is. And then here's one I know you're going to love is Christian Laettner. Christian Laettner and the Duke Blue Devils. It's crazy to say that Christian Laettner was the guy over Grant Hill. And Grant Hill's success in the NBA transcended, and that's why there's a unique difference between that.
Was Hill the third option on that team? Was it Laettner then Hill? Or
Laettner, Hurley, then Hill. Laettner,
crazy,
Hill,
man.
Hurley.
That's crazy.
But it's just because Hurley dominated as far as controlled where everything was going.
Does he
So,
remind you of Braden Smith at all? Are there
little bit,
similarities?
A little bit. I
Hurley's
can
probably
see
better
just the
defender.
control.
Yeah.
I could just see the control of it. I get where you're going with that. But, one thing you got to take into account, he still holds the record for the NCAA tournament at 407 points.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it helps when you make 4 straight Final Fours.
Well,
you get
of
a chance
course,
to put up some
you
buckets.
get a lot of money on that one. Again, then you think about just the run and the time, and I'm going to let you get back on. But this is some things that come to mind. What Carmelo Anthony did with that Syracuse team, right?
As a one and done. One
right?
of the first ones like that.
Right? What he was able to accomplish. What Danny Manning and a team that you really didn't think, because that Oklahoma team was so dominant that year with like Mookie Blaylock and Wayman Tisdale. And listen, they were beast in 88. Danny Manning goes for 31, 18, and 5 steals in order to win the championship game. So you got to look at him as one of those. Shout out to a guy that I played with in Dallas, Ed O'Bannon.
That's right.
One of the best. Well, he's Ed O'Bannon. Let's just say Ed O'Bannon was one of the best college players in his time in my era. At 95, they went to the championship. Went there a couple times. But he's really the reason why we have NIL. So
straight up.
So let's just keep it real. Ed O'Bannon goes for 30-17 against the team that shout out RIP to Big O Miller, that crew going down to Ed O'Bannon in the championship game. 40 minutes of hell is what they called it. Shout out to them. That's just a couple. I've got more, but I definitely want to let you re-engage.
John in Cortland here on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line says, mentioned Mr. Bill and the San Francisco Dons about Bill Russell on the West Coast. Gets San Francisco a natty before heading out to Boston and becoming maybe the greatest winner in NBA history. The number of championships he led those 60s and 70s Celtics teams too. Stricky, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little surprised. You own some favorites. You're Mr. Underdog. You own some big names. I'm going to head back to some underdogs here. Kind of weird to call this guy an underdog, but think about Jimmer Fredette.
Yeah, he was on the list.
The run that he went on.
To get in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, it's funny to call him an underdog because that was your AP National Player of the Year at BYU. But it's little old BYU. Never been exactly a basketball powerhouse. But there's Jimmer, right?
Is Jimmer Fredette Matt McClung 1.0?
No, Mac had hops. Jimmer did not.
Okay, but
Jimmer was more Steph than anything.
Jimmer was still getting 30 in like China and overseas. He did buckets.
Yeah. Jimmer's like that quad A baseball player. Too good for AAA, not quite good enough for the show. That's where Jimmer's at.
Good point. Yeah, I like that. I like where you went with that.
That was Jimmer. But yeah, Jimmer in the 2011 tournament. 2011. So AP Player of the Year, Wooden Award winner, Naismith Award winner. BYU went 30-4, but only a number 3 seed in the Southeast region that year. They beat Wofford with 74 points, 32 of them from Jimmer. Gonzaga's on this list again. Jimmer dropped 34 on the Zags. He scored basically half of Gonzaga's points. It was Jimmer 34, Gonzaga 67. And then Florida, really powerful team at that time. And then again, now under Todd Golden, Jimmer put up 32 against them in an overtime loss. But for me, Strick, when I think of March, if I'm not going to think about my very beloved Duke Blue Devils, it's going to come to Kemba Walker for me. The run that he took that 2011 UConn team on. So UConn that year finished 9th in the Big East. Loaded conference. That Big East and the 80s Big East are some of the best basketball that's ever been played. UConn was 9-9, lost 4 of their last 5 conference games. Then they go 5-5 to win the Big East tournament. You think about the Big East semifinals where Kemba steps back on Pitt, cardiac Kemba. It was the start of that. And then they tear through the NCAA tournament. After winning 5 games in 5 days in the Big East tournament, they take down a Cincinnati Big East foe. They take down Kawhi Leonard's San Diego State Aztecs in the tournament. Derek Williams in Arizona, who would end Duke's season the next year. Derek Williams was a stud that we don't talk about in college basketball enough. He beat Boogie Cousins and John Wall in the Final Four almost single-handedly. And then, Strick, one of the other great underdog stories in March was Butler. Butler made the championship game back-to-back years out of.
Was that CJ? No. Which one was
Brad
McCollum?
Steve. That was Lehigh. Lehigh.
Okay.
Yeah. But Butler makes it to the title game in 2010. Loses when Hayward's half-court shot rims out.
Yeah.
They make it back the very next year. It was Butler and VCU in the Final Four, I believe is what it was. And Kemba takes down a team that was looking to get over the hump from that next year. And then even you fast forward 3 years to 2014, Shabazz Napier. Feels like we were watching cardiac Kemba 2.0 again at that point. Those are some of the most memorable players and performances and runs that come to mind for me.
Well, since you took me there, you understands me. I'm going to throw another underdog story out to you, one that turned out to be a great NBA Hall of Fame story.
Okay.
And that is the illustrious Dwayne Wade at Marquette.
He was the last guy to put up the Jemiah Neal stat line before Jemiah Neal
Before
yesterday.
he did, right? Goes for a triple-double against, some of the great Kentucky teams of old in 2003 to get to the Elite Eight. Great run for them. I mean, he looked every bit as good as he did in the NBA with the way that he played. You were just looking at him, his transitions, his defense, his attacking the rim. All of that stuff is what you saw, but you didn't see it because he was hiding out up in Milwaukee and didn't get too much. They don't have the TV the way that they did back. Now they do.
Who was D. Wade's coach at Marquette?
Oh, shoot.
Tom Crean.
Was it Crean?
It's Tom Crean.
Was it?
Yeah.
And here, you want to know something crazy?
I need to. Hit me.
I was on my way there that next year.
No shot.
I got after they made this run, I got to Milwaukee.
That's
so the
right.
buzz was still hot about Marquette and what was ahead for the future. But he shot 68% from the field in that game. He went, they went to the Final Four. He averaged 2.3 steals a game. Shout out to them. Now I'll quick turn it over, and I want to throw this out to you because there was also some memorable games that, when you look at them and when you talk about why March Madness became March Madness, some of these stories are there. We can talk about, Bryce Drew and, how people literally made their name off the NCAA tournament.
Edney.
Right? Yeah, right. But the Duke-Kentucky game in 92, everybody to this day is still talking about whether or not the clock was right. Did they start? Can you get a shot off? People are literally doing those. What's those little tests where you're trying to probe and figure out? It's like a scientific test or whatever.
Yeah, there's science fair projects.
They're doing tests on that even to this day about how can he catch it, shimmy, shake, dribble, turn, and shoot in that amount of time. So people are still kind of talking about that. One other game is in 1985. You talked about the Villanova. You talked about Georgetown. Listen, the super underdog in Villanova against the juggernaut of Georgetown.
JT3, Ewing.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They shoot 79% and barely beat them.
And barely beat him. Yeah.
You had to shoot out of your mind in order to beat them, and you were able to accomplish that. You can also talk about the Jimmy Valvano story.
Yep.
Of NC State pulling off the
Lorenzo
upset win.
Charles and against Visley Majama.
Yeah, you can talk about. Then there's this one. You will never forget. North Carolina, Michigan. The T that turned into the T cost them an opportunity to win the big one. One last one.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the kudos just because Duke is about to do some business.
Oh, they already did. Troy and Lincoln. How about those Blue Devils, Austin? Good coaching. Dang right, Troy.
UNLV, Duke. They should not have won that game, but they did.
But they did.
Shout out to them. So those are just some of the stories when we're talking about memorable March Madness games.
Tim A.V. says, Ali Farokhmanesh, one of my favorite March Madness players of all time. He's the one that hit the shot from the wing against Kansas to knock the Jayhawks out. You think about Vermont taking down Syracuse with the three from the parking lot. I think it's just Gus Johnson called it. More recently, Strick, I think about Texas A&M down by 12 points. Under a minute to go, they come back, tie the game, and then end up winning it. I think about the Purdue-Virginia Elite Eight game where Purdue looks like they're going to kick down that door, get back to the Final Four for the first time since Gene Keady was coaching. There's a loose ball. Virginia tracks down. They hit the elbow jumper. They go on to win. Then you think about Virginia-Auburn in the Final Four.
In the corner.
Kyle Guy in the corner. Puts it up.
Toes up
fouled.
or toes out? Which
Toes
one
up.
was it?
I thought he was out.
I thought he was out too.
But that's just my opinion. This is the opinion.
But then one of my guys,
Then he cashes the free
referee, comes from way up top and calls. I said, bruh. and then the replay says,
No.
Wow.
I think about there's another
So many
Virginia game
moments.
that came to mind. Which one? Oh, I was thinking of two, like even Villanova, North Carolina, Chris Jenkins in the pitch back to win. The very next year, Luke May hits the buzzer beater against Kentucky.
We haven't seen much of that yet.
No, and that was the point of the segment was we don't have that yet.
Yeah.
Do you think that we're saving up plenty of magic for round 2 or weekend 2? Or do you think, Strick, that this is going to be a tournament dominated by the favorites and how historically good they were?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And then you talk about some of those magical moments as well. You got to remember Jalen Suggs.
Yeah.
The half-court buzzer beater in 2021.
I remember watching that one live.
Right? Well, probably one of the most memorable ones.
That one is a little lower down my list because it was a tie game.
Yeah.
If it would have gone into to win the game by 1 or by 2 because they were down, that's a little higher on my list. The fact that it was tied, really you just chuck it up there. But I remember watching him dribble into that one, and Gonzaga had to hit a few big ones to even get it to that point.
Yeah. Wow. This is great stuff, man. What else?
Let's get to this from Gus Mohawk here on our Sartor Hamann Jewelers text line. Again, you can be a part of the conversation, 402-464-5685. We would love to hear from you here for the last half an hour or so of the show. Some of the best NCAA teams that didn't win the NCAA tournament. Stricky, do you have any that come to mind for you?
Well, you really can't say UNLV because UNLV it did end up winning it. It just got cost. It just cost them a back-to-back run. A team that I thought could have won it with the team that they had. One of the first times that I've seen in college a Big Three was Georgia Tech with Kenny Anderson, Dennis Scott, and
91.
Yeah. Oh gosh, who was the third? Brian something. Brian. Is it Brian?
Brian Black?
No.
Brian Hill. Brian Gemberling.
Oh, they had John Barry on that team. No, that's not them.
Next year?
It must have been the year before. It must have been 90. Kenny Anderson was, I think, a junior. Might have been 90.
Oh, Brian Oliver.
Brian Oliver.
There it is.
I knew it was
That was
something.
a year early. My bad.
Right, 1 year early. So when you look at that team, I actually thought they had, because they had a good center too. He was short, but just real stocky. I thought that was it. I'll talk about the Oklahoma State teams. Those are ones that I thought were really good teams. I mean, when you talk about Big Country and Byron Houston, like if you don't remember, Byron Houston was super rock. He was like a big, gorilla, like, pound his chest. If you really could remember what Brian Houston looked like, that team, they were well coached. That's one I also am reminded of. Definitely the Michigan Fab Five team.
Oh yeah,
definitely, no doubt, no question about it. Those are that's a good one.
99 Duke got upset by UConn. I mean, that's the team that entered the NCAA tournament with the highest net rating, according to Ken Pom, of all time.
Yeah.
Finishes runners up because they lose to, again, a really good UConn team that came in as an underdog. The fact that J.J. Redick and those Duke teams never got one in the early 2000s kind of sticks out to me. And honestly, Strick,
You could say a lot of North Carolina teams too.
A lot of North Carolina teams, a couple Kentucky teams here and
Yeah.
there, probably some Kansas teams. But Strick, more recently too, I would say that Virginia team that got upset by UMBC was tracking that way. DeAndre Hunter gets hurt with he was coming off the bench. I think about Gonzaga. I mean, they were a 1 seed in 2012-13. I don't remember much about that team. The 2016-17 team was loaded, went 37-2, lost in the national championship game to North Carolina. They're 1 seed again 2 years later. They lose in the Elite Eight in 2018-19. They lose again in the national championship game. They stayed number 1 pretty much all year. The only game that Gonzaga team lost was in the national championship to that Baylor team of destiny. And then the next year, they're 1 seed as well. They end up losing in the Sweet 16. I think that was the UCLA year, if I'm not mistaken. No, that was Arkansas. That's right. Arkansas got them. Gonzaga shocks me they haven't gotten one.
Yeah.
With how good they were under Mark Few. And I know we talked about this yesterday or earlier in the week. It just feels like Gonzaga's probably missed its time.
Yeah.
They had their run at the top of the sport, the way that they dominated out west, the number of 1 seeds they had. Gonzaga's too good to be a Cinderella right now.
Yeah.
If they pick off Houston, maybe they can make a little bit of a run. But Strick, to me, some of these Houston teams that haven't won under Kelvin Sampson that have gotten to the Elite Eight and the Final Four, for Houston, it just always seems to be one injury to a key player that holds them back. And Kelvin's got a little Tom Thibodeau to him. They're not necessarily that deep, so one injury
Right.
throws those teams off quite a bit more than some others.
Great call, Tom Thibodeau. But even going further, you know who I'm talking about. The little short man that could. Jeff Van Gundy.
Tell him, Stricky.
Wow, good stuff, man. Gorilla Bear says the 2009-10 Kentucky team. I think that was one you did mention. Unnamed texter 0283 throws something out. He says, what school's been to the most Final Fours and never won? That's a great question.
Okay, so I'm trying to find this here. So this is most NCAA tournament wins. This was as of 5 years ago, so I'm sure this has changed a little bit. Purdue.
Wow.
Has been to like 2 Final Fours in school history, not won a natty. Oklahoma hasn't won a natty. Illinois got in 2005.
They were good with
that
battle.
05 team.
Well, even going back
Before.
with not Turner Gill, but oh gosh.
I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah,
Kendall Gill.
Kendall, that's right.
And Battle and Kenny Battle. That crew they were tough. They had D Brown, I think,
D.
on that
Brown,
team too.
Yeah. Luther Head.
Yeah.
You had Texas is on this list with 35 wins.
That's a surprise.
Memphis, West Virginia.
That one, I wouldn't have
They're
never
rugged.
thought that.
They're solid. West Virginia was really good. So I think, Duke actually beat West Virginia in, I believe, the Sweet 16 in 2010 is what it would have been. Hustrick was West Virginia's point guard back in the 2010 NCAA tournament.
Bro, you know my encyclopedia don't go back that far.
He is a sitting NBA head coach.
Oh, your boy up in Boston.
That's right, Joe Mazzulla. Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah.
Was the West Virginia point guard under Bob Huggins in 2010. So you can't say Louisville because Denny Crum got there and Rick Pitino got there. Michigan, have they won a national title?
I don't think so.
Because they got close. Remember, they had some really good teams in the
I don't
early
think Michigan's
2010s.
won one.
You had Mitch McGarry, you had Trey Burke.
Yeah.
You had that team that ran through the Big Ten tournament with Mo Wagner and made a bit of a run there.
I don't think they have, Austin. I'm really thinking I don't think they have.
They have one.
They've got. Oh no, they did with Glenn Rice.
That's right, 89,
Glenn Rice
89.
and your boy Rumel Robinson. He
That's
made the
right.
free. He couldn't shoot free throws, and he made the free throws to seal the game.
That's right.
That was the story. I remember that. Yeah.
Because Steve Fisher took over in
Yeah.
the middle of that year. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Let's go to break here. Let's keep the conversation going, though. Send in some more of these names and these teams, 402-464-5685. Back with more on the block momentarily.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through April 1st is $1 off all pasta, $2 off spaghetti sauce, and special discounts on hamburgers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney and Lincoln, or also at 168th and Maple Streets in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those magical 2 days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday and get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it. And stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and O.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Spring storms can unfortunately lead to power outages. While LES line workers go out in the storm, you can stay in, but you can also help by reporting your outage right away online at les.com/report.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
At Lincoln Family Chiropractic, they believe everyone deserves to live a pain-free and active life. Whether it's neck pain, shoulder pain, or lower back pain, Lincoln Family Chiropractic specializes in customized care for every patient to promote faster healing, allowing you to get back to an optimal life. Lincoln Family Chiropractic's team specializes in treatments such as dry needling, cupping therapy, and traditional adjustments. Give Lincoln Family Chiropractic a call today, 402-484-5166. Visit them online at lincolnfamilychiro.com or in person, 1 block south of 70th and 8th Street in Lincoln.
Do you need a urologist? At Urology Partners of Nebraska, we understand the urgency of your health. That's why we offer appointments within 48 hours. Although we're new to the community, our team brings years of experience and expertise to provide you with the best care possible. From vasectomies to kidney stones, we've got you covered for all your urology health concerns. Call 402-413-2800 today and experience the difference at Urology Partners of Nebraska.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
It takes hard work to make Nebraska the right place to raise a family, build a business, or grow a community. We're counting on working parents to make it happen, and they're counting on childcare professionals to have their backs. Employers and other contributors can earn up to a $100,000 tax credit for strengthening childcare in our communities and state. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
We're still hanging out here at Wings and Rings for another hour and a half or so. Plenty of more basketball action on your way. Plenty more sports talk throughout the night as well. And some Lincoln Stars hockey coming your way with a 6:40 pregame for that one. Austin Norman, Eric Strickland. This segment of the show brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. They are based out of Hallam, Nebraska. They offer a free estimate, full window replacement, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty on everything while still keeping their prices affordable. Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned. They've got their own team of installers. Give them a call today for more info at 402-430-3852, or you can visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Stricky, so some people in the know have kind of seen this one coming, but you ever have those moments where life goes full circle for you? You get to a moment, you travel your journey, and then years later, it all comes back to the starting point where you can see growth. You can see learning. You know those moments in your life? University of Virginia appears to be on the doorstep of one of those. They are targeting Ryan Odom, head coach of VCU, to be their next head coach. Why is that interesting? Ryan Odom was the coach of UMBC when they knocked off Virginia in the 16-1.
Now that's go back and that's kind of just trying to reestablish some mojo, some magic moments. Can you reconstruct that magic? That's kind of what
it's Big Brothering them.
Yeah, Big Brother.
It's pretty.
They need it though because
oh my gosh, man!
Like, here's the thing. Virginia, I think, was on the tail end of why Jay Wright left. You know, now Bennett has exited. I think he saw the writing on the wall. Virginia is not a big money school.
No.
Charlottesville's in the middle of nowhere. How are you going to attract kids? And I think the attraction initially was, we used to do the NBA top 100 camp there.
Oh yeah,
every year, right? So then when I was doing G League training, we would do our ref training there as well. So what you got, beautiful campus, beautiful scenery in the middle of nowhere, not much going on. You could draw somebody to the quietness of that with great facilities. Right?
Sure.
The facilities were phenomenal.
And a great head coach in Tony Beck.
And a good head coach, right? Playing in one of the best conferences at the time. Weather's going to be good. So you got those elements. But when you don't have the money to the level of where you're going to have to fight with Duke. You got to fight with North Carolina. Wake Forest even got some money. Don't get it twisted,
on it.
right?
Mhm. Miami's got money.
They got money.
Florida State probably here and there.
Florida State shaky.
Okay.
Florida State
Syracuse
is
basketball
still
school.
hurting from the debacles that they've made on football coaching hires.
Fair enough.
They're still paying for that.
Fair enough.
I just don't think they have the money like more so than what a Miami would have.
Fair enough.
know, even maybe in Florida, but because it's kind of like they're a smaller school that, you know what I mean? They don't have like a super big alumni base like a Nebraska. They do have alumni base, don't get it twisted, but
not to that
it's
level.
different to when you want to, you know, they've shelled out the money. They feel they've got bit. So the question then becomes, is there going to be a time when Nebraska folks start looking at, so right now, if you're sitting on a coffer and you've been operating in mediocrity, and we've talked about the brand complacency stuff, I brought that up. You've been operating in mediocrity. You're sitting on a boatload of cash. You're the monopoly man stomping on the money. You know what I mean? You got Park Place, you know what I'm saying?
Broadway.
Yeah, you own all, come on around my way, right?
Yep.
And you're still operating. There's going to be a time, I think, and I'm surprised that we've even gone this long, where people are going to start looking at you with a side eye and say,
where's that? What we doing? Make something happen. No, I get you.
So they got to be careful. I think it's a thin line that they're playing on, and when I talk about thin line, I think about when I've watched those guys walk with a long pole.
Oh, yep.
And they're
on the tightrope.
Nebraska might be on the tightrope.
Cross that canyon.
They might be on the tightrope.
Speaking of the canyon, I don't see the score anymore, but Maryland was up on Grand Canyon at one point. Stricky, I know you and Jake talked a little bit about last night's games, but I found some interesting stats. I'm not sure if you guys talked about. Would you want these stats about Kansas or Drake first?
Let's start with Drake.
Okay, we'll start with
I already
Drake.
told him I didn't like Kansas.
Fair enough. All right. So, Drake, let me scroll back up.
Dang,
last
is
night,
Duke, what the heck is Duke doing? Duke's trying to make a statement.
Oh, Duke just won by 44.
They're trying to make a statement.
They are now the school with the most 40-point wins in the NCAA tournament in history. That's 7 of them.
See, I gave you a little bone.
Appreciate it. You're D-Wade lobbing up to my LeBron and throwing down in that picture. So Drake last night used 8 players in the win over Missouri. Okay, that's a pretty normal rotation. 8's not too many, not too few, especially for a relatively tight game for an underdog from the Missouri Valley Conference against Missouri from the SEC. How about this, Stricky? All 8 of those players were in their first year at Drake. They're the first team ever to win an NCAA tournament game using only players in their first year enrolled at the school.
Wow. That's a tremendous stat.
The magic of the transfer portal.
The magic of the transfer portal, i.e. Mel Tucker.
I.e. Mel Tucker.
I'm not saying he's in the boat of Mel Tucker, but here's what would be crazy. You ready? You fresh off the boat. You're just getting your feet wet. You're walking around. You're kind of getting a feel for the town. And then, voila, you're gone to the next city.
Probably just a couple hours down the road.
Like, how crazy is that, right? You're making waves. Things is popping. Starting to just kind of settle in, and then, voila, you're off to the next spot.
Left turn.
Man,
Right
that's
turn.
crazy. Okay.
Drake held Missouri, the second best offense in the SEC, to 31.3% shooting. That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. How about Michigan, Stricky? They were up big on UC San Diego. The Tritons got back in it. Michigan's margin of victory in the last 13 games. They only have one win by more than 2 possessions. They have won one game by 18 points. Otherwise, they've won by 4 in overtime, by 4, by 3, by 4, by 3, by 2, by 3, by 3, by 2, by 1, by 6, and by 3.
And guess who else is in that number? In you.
Dem Skurs, boy.
Dem Skurs is in there too.
Michigan's walking that tightrope you're talking
Yeah.
about. Playing
yeah.
with some fire.
Sooner or later, you gonna slip, and the alligators are down there looking up like no Florida Gator team. They're looking up like one slip.
You know you want to. One wrong step. One wrong step. St. John's takes down Omaha by 30. Mavs got out to a good start.
He got off to a great start. I'm still proud of them because
Absolutely.
they still competed.
Absolutely.
They just couldn't shoot.
Oh, yeah. And St. John's will do that too.
And right. That's just what their deal is.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, you can't you made a bet.
Mm-hmm.
Your bet was this is not a great shooting team, can shoot team, not a great shooting team.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna bet. And I love that he stayed with it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, he says we're going to go down with the strategy we propose.
Mm-hmm.
We're packing it in because we can't athletically match up with them.
No.
We're going to pack it in, and they're going to shoot. And they shot almost 40% on 30-something shots, 36 shots, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, it's just one of those things. And there are going to be teams like that, and there's going to be situations. And Omaha was just such at a disadvantage that it's really not much, there's really not much adjustments you can make that would have changed the outcome of what it was, especially when you're shooting so bad.
14 of 37 from three is what the Red Storm shot. It's only the 5th time all season that they made double-digit threes,
right?
Which double digits is a pretty good clip, but anymore, I mean, you're shooting 25, 30 of them. St. John's made 10 against Quinnipiac, 10 against Virginia, 11 against Villanova, 14 against Baylor back in November in a game that went to double overtime, and then 14 against the Mavs last night. But how about this? Rick Pitino versus John Calipari, St. John's to the second round for the first time since 2000. Rick Pitino also becomes the first team in NCAA tournament history to lead 4 different programs to wins of 20 points or more in the tournament. That's a dang good coach on that sideline, Stricky.
Yeah, he is. And one of the things I talked about a little bit earlier with Shaggy Jaggy was how certain coaches fare well where they should be.
Mm-hmm.
Pitino tries to make the leap, goes to Boston, tries to put an ointment on the injury by bringing in a bunch of Kentucky guys so that you didn't have to change their mindset, trying to implement a style into the pro ranks that just doesn't fit. So then you go back and you look at Pitino and you say, and you come to a realization, this is where you belong.
Yeah.
Right. We talked about it in different times in football as well. But you also look at, I talked to him about Shaka Smart being at VCU, having great success, then going to Texas. That's not your. That's a little bit above your pay grade, my boy. You don't have top seat clearance for that. Let's put you over here.
They let you in. Now we're kicking you.
I mean, put you over here, and Marquette is kind of where you want. There's certain coaches that have that. Now there are certain coaches that have a knack and understand that this is where they are, i.e. Cream, i.e. Few, Pearl. You can pretty much send them in. If you give them resources, send them anywhere, they're going to get good players and they're good coaches. They're going to have some forms of success. So we talked about that dynamic, but when you look at this matchup here, intriguing.
It's going to be fascinating. Arkansas still doesn't inspire me.
Yeah.
And they almost blew that one last night, Stricky.
Yeah.
They saw a 2-3 zone and their brains melted. They didn't know how to handle it. And Coach Cal, that's been kind of the MO for his teams, is that he gets thrown off because he's not as creative. He doesn't show as much in the tournament. Bill Self has some of that knack for calling up the right plays at the right time, offensively and defensively, but just not enough for that. While we're on Bill Self, Stricky, I know you don't like Kansas, neither do I. That's why we got to give these numbers here, my boy. Kansas has been the preseason #1 team in the AP poll 5 times. They have not made it to the Sweet 16 as the preseason #1. That's kind of crazy.
And they probably lost to a couple of teams that's way down the bracket that they shouldn't have lost to as a #1.
One of those times, Stricky, is when Kansas was a 3 seed in 2005 when they lost to 14th seeded Bucknell in the first round. That is still this year's Kansas team and that 2005 Kansas team, the only 2 AP preseason #1 teams to lose in the round of 64. Woof. Not a great look for Bill Self. And Hunter Dickinson had a big part of that, Stricky. In Bill Self's 22 seasons at Kansas, his 2 years with Hunter Dickinson were the bottom 2 in losses, bottom 2 in winning percentage, bottom in conference losses and win percentage, 20th and 22nd in KenPom ranking, in their worst and tied second worst seed in the NCAA tournament. It can tell you can go get talented players, but that's not necessarily a guarantee of a pathway to success.
He spent the bag too.
Did he ever?
And didn't get an ROI on that investment. This is what I see. When you say that, Austin, you can look at me and know when we're down on 11th and 0.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm saying when I'm talking about Jay. Look, you have to be able to look deeper than beyond the numbers. You've got to look, okay, because here's why. There are plenty of Eddie Curry type guys out there. Big as a house, lose the weight, have a career year,
contract
get
year,
paid, contract year, and disappear on you, right? There's plenty of that, you can tell. When I look at Dickerson, I get that same vibe. Just he didn't seem to have the drive. If you know why, he should have been out with Klingon. If he was really, if he really
was him,
he should have been out with him.
Yeah,
but he didn't show me, and he didn't show me an evolution growth of his game either. So now this is why I've got to say I'm impressed with big fella down in from Purdue,
Edie.
I'm impressed because Edie understood. I have a set. I have to increase this set. I can't continue to play the old style way. I've got to do more, and he's worked on that.
Yeah,
I think Edie will eventually become like Brock, not Brock, but
Brooke Lopez.
Brooke Lopez.
I see it.
Eventually.
I like it. Yeah. I see where it's coming from. He's Strick. I'm Austin. We got one more segment here for On the Block from Buffalo Wings and Rings. That's not going to stop you from coming out all night. Just because we're off air at 6 doesn't mean the party slows down. Basketball all night long. They've got, at my last count, exactly a bajillion TVs in here. There's not a seat where you will not be able to watch the basketball action. Definitely make your way down here to Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O. In the next hour, if you can help it, stop by and say hi. If not, they will certainly welcome you in with open arms and fantastic food down here at BWR. Strick, Austin, On the Block, one last segment after this.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Follow Austin Strick and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
At Lincoln Family Chiropractic, they believe everyone deserves to live a pain-free and active life. Whether it's neck pain, shoulder pain, or lower back pain, Lincoln Family Chiropractic specializes in customized care for every patient to promote faster healing, allowing you to get back to an optimal life. Lincoln Family Chiropractic's team specializes in treatments such as dry needling, cupping therapy, and traditional adjustments. Give Lincoln Family Chiropractic a call today, 402-484-5166. Visit them online at lincolnfamilychiro.com or in person, 1 block south of 70th and 8th Street in Lincoln.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through April 1st is $1 off all pasta, $2 off spaghetti sauce, and special discounts on hamburgers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or also at 168th and Maple Streets in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. We'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day, and it will be breezy. Snatching high near 56. Tonight, mainly clear skies and light winds, below around 29. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny skies return. It'll be breezy with an afternoon high near 64. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clutcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Are you facing a legal problem and don't know where to turn? You need trial attorneys you can trust. Liberty Law Group's experienced trial attorneys will handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Whether you have been accused of a crime, injured in an accident, or threatened with a lawsuit, you can trust that Liberty Law will be there for you. Call for a free consultation and find out how Liberty Law can protect your rights and interests. That's 877-42-LIBERTY, 877-42-LIBERTY, or visit libertylawnebraska.com. Liberty Law Group, trial attorneys you can trust.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solutions offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions on 2024 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
It may not feel like it, but planting season is on its way, and now's the time to upgrade your equipment with a late model John Deere planter from Acres Equipment. Acres has an entire lineup of John Deere planters equipped with the latest technology to ensure planting accuracy throughout your field. And to get you up and going, each planter purchased from Acres includes in-field startup support from one of our Precision Ag professionals. Warmer weather is coming soon, so don't delay. Visit your local Acres for details. Offer expires April 30th, 2025.
Spring storms can unfortunately lead to power outages. While LES line workers go out in the storm, you can stay in, but you can also help by reporting your outage right away online at les.com/report.
Right now, when you drive by Honda of Lincoln, you'll see more than 200 new Hondas and over 125 pre-owned vehicles. Hi, Charlie Stone here, and with me on the line is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, how does it feel to have so many vehicles in stock again for your customers?
Charlie, it feels amazing to see how excited our customers are. They love the ability to see, test drive, and take immediate delivery of the exact new Honda they're looking for.
Do you have some good offers to talk about?
We sure do, Charlie. We're offering financing as low as 0.9% APR up to 72 months, or great lease rates on every new Honda. It's the perfect time to drive away in the new Honda you've been dreaming of.
How about pre-owned, Andy?
We have over 125 pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Just about every make and model with prices starting at under $10,000.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Austin Orman, Eric Strickland back with you. One short segment here for On the Block for the week. Thanks again to the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese for their sponsorship of the show. Stricky, those Sandbag and Tar Heels are back at it. They were down 18 at the half. They are now only down 8 to Ole Miss. This is what they've done all year. Could have told you this was coming. 8-point game, 6 minutes and change to go. And Maryland, 4 seed out of the Big Ten, up 14.
Come through, Oh, I'm sorry.
You talking the Tar Heels or you talking the Turtles?
UNC.
All right.
Come through,
Your boys probably irrationally high on Maryland, so it's good to see them pull away after a bit of a rough start. Stricky, I do want to mention a Will Wade here. There's a pretty good column written by Matt Norlander of CBS Sports after McNeese took down Clemson yesterday. Of course, there's Fred Hoiberg on the TV. Oh, they just flashed him off the TV. But anyways, Will Wade and McNeese take down Clemson, who scores more points in the final 45 seconds of the game than they did in the first 20 minutes, which is kind of astounding. But one of the big talking points and takeaways from this Matt Norlander column is how honest and upfront Will Wade was about his interest and other schools' interest in hiring him for another job. One of his seniors, Christian Shoemate, said to Matt Norlander, I think when you're in the loop and both ends are transparent about things, there's not too much room for conflict. Everybody's aware of everything that's going on, and when there's a clear understanding, everybody keeps the same angle in the front of mind. We'll worry about all that stuff later. Echoing what his head coach said, we're not worried about any of that stuff. I mean, here's the thing. We can sit here and lie about it, but it is what it is. Our guys aren't worried about it. I ain't worried about it. None of our administration's worried about it. Nobody's worried about it. We've been honest with everybody. It's great. Keep winning. Keep going. Do you like the approach from Will Wade to be honest and upfront with his team, or do you think it'd be better for the sake of the program that he kept some of that stuff to himself?
No, I think it's to the betterment of the sport, of the staff. Now, here's why I say what I say of the university and as well as the players. We're in a generation where there has been multiple shifts with coaching. There was a form of selfishness, I think, in the coaching landscape, meaning get you in, tell you everything you want to hear, put you out on the platform, and then up next. The coaches that were the most authentic in this period, not authentic by what they told you, but authentic by how they cared about you with their heart, were the ones that won during that period, right? Okay. Then there was a shift. Then the players was a part of this shift. Coaches were always doing it. You just didn't really see it as much. But then the players started to catch on. So players started to say, I like you, coach. I think I'm coming. I like you, coach. You're great. I like your style. I think I'm coming. Coach, there's no question in my mind I'm coming. And you didn't told 5 people that. Awesome. And so now coaches then catch on. And so now there's a shift. So now coaches then kind of in their own little way, they started doing it a little bit more covertly by not really talking about it, letting it, leveraging it, and then, making the move without really conferring with the guy. Because guess what? Players were stuck.
Yeah.
It was a period. Players were stuck. You
They had
didn't really
sit
have
out,
to tell
coaches
them.
didn't.
Yeah, you didn't really have to tell them much. You're right. You see where I'm going. Then the next thing, NIL comes. So now, peace. See you later, coach. I'm out. You did it to us. Me too. And I'm not talking about the other me too part.
Assume.
So then, boom, that all happens, right? Now we're at a place where I think it's more imperative than not that when you have these discussions, there's an understanding. As the player says, there's an understanding. I understand that you can leave. You understand that I can leave. But let me tell you, I am. Understand, just as well as you would go to the next school or the next location because you're up with me too. So now what that creates.
But if I like you, we can go together.
Austin, talk to your
If
boy.
you're honest, if you're genuine,
Talk
if
to
you
your
have
boy.
my best interests in mind, I know you're going to take a job that's good for you. You've led me. You put me in positions to succeed. I like how that feels. You know what, coach? Since you trust me and I trust you, let's continue this partnership. Just because we're wearing different colors doesn't mean we're different people.
So what this becomes, Austin, is a mutual beneficial relationship because of the upfront and honesty. Now it's a interview for me to take you. You feel me?
I feel.
Now, who's with adversity, who's going to go into a shell? Upfront adversity now. With adversity, who's going to still give their all? I ain't told nobody I'm taking anybody. Are you still going to play? Not for me, but for this university that you decided to make a commitment to. Now, if I decide to take you, now I know that commitment is still coming with me.
True. It's rock solid.
I.e., why Drake is Drake.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just ran that down. Talk to me, 402-464-5685. Holla at your boy.
Holla at us during Old School. We got to get out of here. It's top of the hour, so let's go hit that bumper music there, Bach. We will make our way out of On the Block. When we return, it'll be Old School for an hour, and that'll wrap up our time here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. They have been nothing but courteous and hospitable to us. We truly appreciate them. Jake Sorensen giving away the final prizes of the day over. Mizzou, not like Drake. He was not like them. Biggest win for Drake since, 2018. It's been a while. Great week of On the Block. We'll be back with another week, 3 to 5 all week next week. Jay Foreman should be back in the fold. Good stuff, partner. Have a good weekend.
Yes, sir.
He's Strick. I'm Austin. You're you. Stick with us. One more hour of Old School after this.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK.